Can I knit a sock like this one in only one day? So my mom recently had a severe health issue and had to be hospitalized, and she's currently in a rehabilitation clinic to recover. I'm finally able to visit her this week, and I wanted to bring her a handmade gift. I wanted it to be something personal and something cozy, and that's why I came up with the idea of knitting her a pair of socks. I have already completed the first sock, and this is it. But there is one issue. I'm going to visit her tomorrow and I only have this one sock done. So I have one day in total to knit a complete sock. I hope I'm able to do it. Let me give you a closer look of the sock. So this is it. The yarn I'm using is an unspun yarn. It's Nutiden yarn from Rock Air. And I'm holding it together with one strand of the kid silk from Drops, which is a blend of silk and mohair. Let me show you. So this is the mohair. I originally purchased this as an undyed cream and naturally dyed it myself using logwood and madder. And for the unspun yarn, I'm using 3 different colorways. So I'm using this, I would say it's mostly green, then this light pink one, and also whoops, and also the purple one. And since I'm holding 2 strands of yarn together, I went up to a bit of a larger needle size than what is typical for me. So for this project I am using 2.5mm double pointed needles, which correspond to a US 1.5. And of course I also need a stitch marker. And this is it here. So I usually do not knit in the mornings. That is the time when I get more work done, but today is an exception because I really want to finish the sock. So that's why I'm going to cast it on now, and hopefully I'll make good progress on it within the course of the day. Let's get started. So since I'm using 2 strands of yarn held together and a 2.5mm needle, I'm only going to cast on 48 stitches. Let's do that now, since we are a bit in a time crunch. So what I like to do when I cast on is that I hold 2 needles together in order to make the cast on a bit looser. And if I am measuring how much yarn I need, I always measure my arm length, and so that's about 50 stitches usually. I'll give it a bit more. Whoops! The yarn is already falling to the ground. And you have to be very careful when using unspun yarn anyway, because it comes apart so easily. So let's get casting on. I am doing the German twisted cast on, which is my favorite kind of cast on. It is very nice and stretchy and also looks nice. If you're interested in seeing how I make the cast on specifically, let me know and I'm going to make a separate video about it. And the
cast on is done.
Okay, so I just finished knitting the calf of the sock, and as you can see, I've also moved to a different part of the living room. It is now already 11:08 a.m., so I really need to get cracking. I am going to attach the main color as well as the mohair now and get on with knitting the leg of the sock. So it is now 11:58, so almost noon, and the leg of the sock is done. I'm very happy with my progress. I've been knitting for around 2 hours now, and what I have to do next is turn the heel. But my younger daughter is going to be home from school in about an hour, so I will have to prepare a lunch and afterwards help her with her homework. So we'll see how much I'm going to be able to get done in the afternoon. In the evening, I usually have about 1 to 1.5 hours to knit, but ideally I would like to turn the heel in during the afternoon, and then I would only have to do the leg and the toe in the evening. We'll see. I am already feeling a bit tense in the neck and upper shoulder part. No pain in the wrist or in the elbow quite yet, so that's good, but yeah, there is a lot to do still, and yeah, we'll see how much I can knit in the afternoon. Totally forgot to tell you what pattern I'm knitting. So this is one of my own knitting patterns. This is the Camare socks, and you have a very simple broken rib motif in the leg and in the foot part, which is great because it's very easy to work, and it is also quite stretchy due to the ribbing, and this means that this is, in my opinion, an ideal pattern for a gift knit because it will mold to the foot of the recipient. So I've knitted this pattern countless times. That's why I remember the cuff stitch pattern for the leg and also the toe. I only have to look at the instructions for the heel. This is a classic heel flap and gusset construction. You knit a garter heel flap and then you turn the heel. So that's what I'm going to do next. Let's get on with it. Okay, so it is now later in the afternoon and the heel is turned. Look at that, I'm so excited. I'm making really good progress. Hi, Bunny. And I'm in good spirits that I'll be able to finish this sock today. Unfortunately, my wrist started hurting just a little bit, so we'll see how it goes. I will have to pick up stitches now on the sides here and then continue knitting the leg. It's much later in the day now and it's already dark outside. I've been working on my sock during every spare moment in the afternoon, and all there's left to do now is add the toe, so the last color. I have to say I'm kind of over it by now, but I'm going to push through. I've been working on the leg part for I guess about 2.5 hours, and the heel took me about 1.5 hours to knit. So overall, what's that? I think 5.5 hours, 6 hours knitting by now. Let's see how much longer I will need until I finish the sock. And my husband is going to make a fire in the wood stove now. And yeah, then I'm going to add the toe. So on the next day we went to visit my mom. We drove all the way down to the Black Forest region here in Germany. We met with my mom and went for a little walk, and she has kindly allowed me to show you the footage of me gifting her the socks. She was completely surprised that I even brought her a gift, and she really liked them. Here she is showing off the socks to my daughters. Overall, I would say this gift was a great success. So here is my overall conclusion. Would I do this again? Well, it took me a total of about 7 hours of knitting in one day to make the one sock. That's a lot of knitting in a day, and I was really struggling at the end to finish the sock. But since this was a gift for my mom and I really wanted to give her something personal and cozy, it was definitely worth it in the end. What I didn't really like about the challenge was the fact that I felt kind of rushed, and that's not what I like my knitting time to be. What I really appreciate about knitting and creating a handmade wardrobe in general is that it is such a slow and intentional process. But nevertheless, it was a fun challenge and I hope you enjoyed following along. Until next time, bye guys!